So today I'm going to try and play Syria. But as you may know, Syria in this game is releasable, currently held at the start by the Mamluks. So I actually spawned in as Colonial to try and release Syria, then I try and attend as playing as Syria. Anyway, there happened to be a Mamluk player, which was quite unfortunate. I didn't really want to invade a player, that's kind of rude, and just release Syria, but he was a player, so that happened. Anyway, Syria gets released, and I'm now playing Syria. As Syria, my first task was to actually unite Syria, and I do that. Looks pretty good. I also have Lebanon too, so that's cool. Syria gets some claims, not that much, but it does get some claims, so that's pretty interesting to note on. It was a little bit less than I expected in like Iraq, but other than that, it's mostly fine. I also thought it maybe control more of the Aleppo trade node, but apparently not. I own Aleppo, but I still don't know that much of the trade node. So I go ahead and invade Cyprus, because, why not? Side note, the Ottoman ones were one of my viewers, so that's pretty cool. I don't really intend to invade him, because, he's my viewer, that's kinda rude. But I do intend on doing some minor trolling, so I decided to try and snag Malta from Aragon, just over in central Italy. At this point, Genoa's invaded Aragon, so there's that to note on, but other than me snagging Malta, the rest of Aragon mostly just because it's carved up there. Malta becomes mildly important later, but now my idea is to maybe try and invade the Colonial. But one thing to note on is that I do have a truce time with them since I did release Syria's Colonial, so there's that, but it's already like 1490 in game, so it's been basically 30 years. So I go into Colonial. I just took Mosul right there, and I just siege north into like Armenia-ish. And I just siege some more of Iraq and just take command of Iraq. So you may be wondering, why did I invade Colonial there? Well, first off, I didn't want to invade the Ottomans, and the Ottomans I think had designs on Egypt. So I didn't really want to go south, even though I did have some claims there. And also there's the Timurids, so I didn't really want them getting Iraq, so there's that too. Persia becomes mildly more important later, but other than that, I do help out my viewer, the Ottomans, over in Egypt, and I think I did a decent job. Egypt as now is, even though he did a lot of the work too. Side note, Italy's pretty interesting here. I usually don't see that many Genoa players, but apparently in the server there was one. And of all the countries to invade to try and get a colonial province in the game, I decided to invade France, for obvious reasons. I did make one claim over in northern France to try and, get that province for colonization, and I think it was a pretty good idea. I casually burned France's dev in the process, which was an unintended side effect, but it still happened anyway, which, that's okay with me. Anyway, I take that land from France, and I think they're able to colonize now. I go ahead and settle in Georgia, centered Syrian Georgia, and we come into a little colony race with Spain. I'm surprised Spain didn't just want to invade me outright for trying to just go around their colonization. I do core some more Iraq. The Ottomans are over in Canada and also Arabia. And Spain, again, tries to cut me off. But I got them off first, so from Virginia. Also, if you guys are wondering, I think pretty sure the Dutch were in New York at the time. Or at least like Flanders, something like that. Anyway, Austria is being invaded by Prussia, and Spain decides to go around my colony again. So now the culture maps is kind of weird, but yeah, there's that, I guess. I colonized Massachusetts, and I do plan on expanding that colony over in the north. Spain's already settled near southern areas of New York, so they go ahead and grab that, from what I could tell. And the Ottomans expand south a little bit from Canada. Spain gets sold one province, which is not to my liking, just because they didn't want them expanding south from Maine, but they don't actually end up doing that, so that's probably fine for me. I cut off, well, I try and cut off them from New Hampshire and Vermont, but they don't actually do anything with that. If you're wondering, no, Spain didn't leave either. They just didn't want to do that, I guess. But anyway, I go ahead and invade Hejaz. I am trying to form the Caliphate after all. I don't want to just be dilly-dallying all game, just having fun like that. Even though, I mean, it is fun, but I want to have like an end goal to do for this run. So anyway, my plan is, after that rival with Hejaz, is to like annex Saudi Arabia without the Hejaz area. Yeah, I feel like they should rename it or something, I'm not sure, but Hejaz has a pretty awkward name here. I mean, you keep the name fine, I guess. Anyway, Persia and the Russians are allied here, and me and the Ottomans go ahead and attack their alliance. I was quite concerned about Persia and Russia potentially being a thorn on our side, and I didn't really want that escalating, but unfortunately the server died right after the war, so that's something to note on, I guess. But I'm still successfully conducting my war against Persia. I'm pretty sure the Ottomans are also in Russia. I do plan on getting them some land, but I mostly wanted to like consolidate some of Persia myself, just so I could like potentially claim those big trading areas, which usually cost like a lot of political power if we don't board them directly. So it's pretty important for me to do that. But I did give the Ottomans Crimea just to give them Crimea. Yeah, I want to give them something. I think I gave them money too, I'm not quite sure. Maybe. Anyway, now my ambitions are shifting south over to Hejaz. Even though my economy is not the greatest in the world, I go ahead and invade them anyway. Hejaz gets besieged quite quickly, and I just go ahead and beat them in Muscat, and basically take the entire of Arabia, like an occupation earlier. Now, the name tags in the south look kind of weird, but I decided to invade Persia just because I didn't want that border war just remaining. And unfortunately, the occupation zone is already fixed at this point, but I plan on finalizing it in a little bit. By now, I already sieged down more in Iran. I'm pretty sure the Russians are in a war with the Ottomans. And I just beat Persia's armies a little bit and take Western Iran. So now I look mildly better, I guess, on the map. Not as bad as I did before, I think. But anyway, the Ottomans finished their war with Russia. They take over some land in Ukraine, like Azov, that kind of area. And at this point, try and invade the people's states to maybe try and get some political power or money, like that kind of stuff. I'm pretty sure this is a rival war, though. But Russia is now a player. This is basically just Bummer Drummer joining in and trying to be annoying, I guess. I know he doesn't really have much better to do, I guess. But anyway, we fight a little brief war. I pick him out of Anatolia briefly, and he comes back into Anatolia. As I said earlier, this is pretty brief. I don't lose or anything, and he doesn't really win either. He just kind of gets kicked by a mod, which he does a lot. The next section is like sped up to 50 times speed just to like skip over all the troll joining, because I'm pretty sure you get pretty boring pretty quickly for y'all if you want to just see Bummer get kicked again and again. Which, I mean, you probably should be decent in better word time, but okay. Anyway, in the meantime, I decided to try and expand to Hejaz over in the south. I claimed some lands over there. One thing I didn't do is claim a province right next to Aden over in like southern Yemen. If you're wondering where Aden is, it's like right where Yemen meets Djibouti. I'm pretty sure I butchered that pronunciation, but it's right next to Africa basically. It's like those two provinces to the most southern one. Anyway, that area has a trade hub, and it may be pretty expensive to like claim it directly. Also, here's me fighting the mod just cause for fun, you know, why not? I happen to win, by the way, so that's cool, I guess. Anyway, basically that would probably be pretty expensive to try and just like claim directly. so I had to do like 2 separate wars against the Jaws. It may have been too fast to see just because I was doing 50 times speed, just to like, this was basically just like troller part. I didn't really want to bore you guys with that, potentially. But I do have some ambitions on Spain here. Some people join, but this isn't the troller, this is just a regular person, which is nice for once. But I am still trying to find a Caliphate at this point. That's Syria, so I don't want to invade my view of the Ottomans. And Spain has some provinces you could take from memory to form a Caliphate, so I want to just invade Spain, maybe get some of those provinces. This is like the first invasion of Spain. I think there's like another one, but not right now. Right now, I'm just trying to get some provinces to maybe get access to some areas of Spain, which may be hard to claim otherwise. So the borders look like that, which is they are borders, I guess. Not much good to note on them, but they exist. And I do plan on cleaning that up. But anyway, you probably saw that little map for the Caliphate, like provinces. But other than my actions in Spain, some action is going on in Italy and France. The Ottomans invaded Italy earlier. They have some invasions in Italy, so there's that to note on. And also England is just in France, sort of, so yeah. Historically accurate, I guess. And they just steal away some of France, too. I go ahead and invade Spain again, with some Ottoman backing. And just siege down some provinces while they go ahead and take down Barcelona and Valencia. Meanwhile, just going to the east, I mostly just go to the north and down to Sevilla-ish. Anyway, the Canaries are still not conquered. I decided to siege some lands in Spain's American territories, which goes quite well for me. I did spawn some mercenaries, so it's kind of expensive, but still, some stuff happened. I annexed a whole lot of Spanish territory on the core 1 city, so that's cool. Spain is still Catholic right now, so might cause some unrest. But I didn't want to invade Spain again that much, just because it was kind of not that fun invading. But I go through Fortress Help with Persia, which very interesting. I'm from like 40k troops for this, I think. So those like slow stack sieging, those aren't like 7k stacks all blitzing. Those are actual armies sieging down Persia. My allies, the Ottomans and the British, help put down those rebels from memory. Well, I go ahead and core the east in Persia. I didn't really want that revolting too. That's kind of like, realistically, I probably could have shipped my army from Persia to Spain, but they decided to be nice and put them down for me, like the rebels. So that's very nice. Buy the required provinces for the Caliphate, and also take Medina too. I'm not sure why that's in required provinces, it'll probably be changed. And everyone in Caliphate, and I also returned the land the Ottomans sold to me. Just, being a nice neighbor. Now that a Caliphate is formed, I do plan on converting religiously the lands I hold, both in Spain and also over in Shia lands in Iran. The Caliphate does get some pretty cool claims and stuff, so there's that to note on. Not even to mention the policies, it's really good. From memory. Spain erupts into revolts, which that was sort of expected from me at the time. I did manage to core the big cities-ish, not entirely. I did miss one, Cordoba. Also, earlier Persia was converting Iran to Orthodox, so the religious map looked kind of weird there. But Iran's basically over at this point. I have a Discord if you guys want to join it, that exists. Hope you guys liked the video. See ya.